We have to appreciate that many Jews, particularly those less affiliated, get their understanding of religion and even Judaism from Christianity. That's the society we live in. And one idea that is prevalent is that religion is based upon faith. It requires a leap of faith to believe. Well, that's certainly true about Christianity and many other faiths, but Judaism is not so much faith-based as it is knowledge-based. Even the word for belief or faith in Judaism, emunah, has a much different context. Emunah comes from the root aleph mem, ima. Ima means internalization, so where a mother has a baby. The word uman, a craftsman. A craftsman has his knowledge deeply internalized and doesn't even think about what he's building. Umain means to train or educate in Hebrew, in modern Hebrew. All these ideas point to a deep internalized knowledge, not really a faith. I think it's closer to the idea of trust. When you trust a doctor, it's based upon the track record that you have with the doctor and the knowledge of how he has worked with you in the past. If he recommends a medication, you have emunah, trust, or bitachon, that he will act with you then in the future as he has done in the past. It isn't a leap of faith. What I would say at the very most, it's a skip of faith. That's our idea of emunah. It's really knowledge and evidence based. The Rishonim, Chavetz Levavis, many others, hold that the mitzvah of emunah is to know through philosophical proof, through evidence, that there's a God. The Rambam describes the mitzvah as Leida sheyesh Shem Elokah, know that there is a God. Many times when you go into a shul on the parochas, it says, Da lifnei mi ata omed, know before whom you stand. The Aleinu v'yadata hayom v'hashivosa elavavecha, know today and return it to your heart. That's Judaism, based upon evidence. You should know as an aside that many people, particularly today, aren't so interested in philosophical proofs or evidence. They intuit along the way as they get more connected the truth of Torah, the truth of God, through the family relationships, the midot, the meaning in life, the Torah as well. That's where they get their evidence. In fact, what they really need is not so much evidence for belief, they need permission to believe, as Rabbi Lawrence Kellerman famously says in his book about evidence for God. Permission to believe, meaning they intuitively know the reality of God and Torah. They just need some evidence because the Yetzer Hara is nagging them, saying you need philosophical proof, you need to be scientific, you need to be rational. Don't worry, we have evidence for that and a whole lot more. After sharing with less affiliateds that Torah really is based on evidence, you might want to share two mishalim. One is very nice for evidence for God. One is very nice for evidence of Torah. We'll start with evidence of Torah. National revelation at Sinai. There was an Indian chief. He died, had 3 sons, and he didn't leave a will, appointing the next chief. They were all fighting, had their relative arguments why each one of them should become chief. The oldest one was the warrior. The middle son was the businessman. And the younger son was the chacham. One day, the chacham, the young son, runs into camp and says, break out the war paint, I'm the new chief. They all look at each other and say, new, like what's your evidence? He says, Papa Running Bear came to me in my dream last night, and he said that I'm going to be the new chief. Wow, Papa Running Bear came to your dream. They didn't know what to do. They were a little flustered when an old wise Indian from the back said, son, if your father really came to you in a dream last night and wanted you to be the chief, he shouldn't have come to you in your dream. He should have come to us in all of our dreams. That's the difference between the national revelation at Sinai and all other claims of revelation in any other religion. Very powerful when you think about it. For a more in-depth understanding of the subject, you should see the great Aish.com article, Did God Speak at Mount Sinai? By Rabbis Zeldman and Coopersmith. Another mashal you can give is based on the design proof, that the world is so beautifully coordinated, designed, such that it had to be created by an intelligent being, God. Sir Fred Hoyle, the Nobel Prize-winning astronomer, surmised that the chances of a bacterium being created randomly, without God, without intelligence, is less than the probability of a tornado ripping through a junkyard and out popping a Boeing 747. I once joked with a friend of mine, it's like taking a banana peel, which is much more advanced than the bacterium, throwing it in your backyard and thinking that in 2 billion years you'll have a conversation with that banana peel. If that's the probability required for a simple bacterium, how much more so the entire world that we see? It's just virtually impossible. I found that most less affiliated Jews, once hearing that Judaism is not based on faith, just that we understand it's based on knowledge, and even being given very little evidence, such as the two Mashalim that I just mentioned to you, most of them don't even want to engage further. They just want permission to believe. Evidence of belief they already have in their neshama. However, for people who want to go deeper and want to get more evidence, there are a variety of great resources available. In the end, it's very comforting for them and for us to know that Judaism is solidly based on knowledge.